Hi and welcome to my very first lesson in chemistry actually, and of course we have to start with the building blocks of all chemistry, and that is what things are made out of. All things in this universe consists of an atom, of atoms. Okay, so what are atoms? Okay, let me give you this definition. An atom is the smallest part of an element that still has the same property of the element. Okay, so an example I like to use is if I had a piece of metal, okay, and if I were to take that piece of metal and cut it in half, each half would still have the same property as the original part. Okay, if the original melted at a certain point, the halves would also melt at that same point. Okay, if the original was hard, the halves would be hard. Okay, if the original was soft, the halves would be soft. Now, that means that this half has the same property as the original. Okay, so if I divide it in half, this half and half again, so I'm now working with a quarter, this quarter has the same property than the whole. So if I take a smaller part of that, and I continue to do this and I half it every time all the way until I can absolutely not do it anymore. Okay, at some point I'm going to get to an atom. Okay, so at some point I'm going to have an atom. Okay, let's say that's the atom. Okay, I can still halve it, but the moment I halve an atom, it doesn't have the same properties as the original structure anymore, as the original element anymore. Okay, so I've been using this word element without justifiably explaining to you what an element is. An element is kind of a pure substance. Okay, and what I mean by a pure substance might not be the technical name, but what I mean by it, it consists of only one type of atom. Okay, an example would be iron. Iron's symbol is Fe, and if I was able to break iron into its smallest part, it doesn't matter which smallest part I choose, those two would be exactly the same. However, if I were to look at water, if I took some water and I take the smallest part of water, it would in fact not be an atom, it would be a molecule, and that molecule will not just consist of one type of atom, it will have two types of atoms. We would have hydrogen, which is an element. Okay, hydrogen also at room temperature is a gas, and it will also consist of oxygen. Hydrogen and oxygen are the atoms that make up water. Okay, so an element is the pure substance where it only consists of one element. Okay, so in talking about this little atom, okay, how big do you think it is? Well, an atom is between 25 picometers, and this is not important, it's just interesting, and 190 picometers. Okay, cool stuff. What's a picometer? Okay, a picometer is 1 meter, a meter times 10 to the power of negative 12. That means you take a meter and you divide it into 10, so this is a meter. You divide it into 10 pieces. This is not a meter if you didn't know, but imagine it was, and you divide it into 10 pieces, okay, 10 parts, equal parts, okay, and then you take one of the 10th and you divide it into 10 little parts again, and then you take one of the 10th and you divide it into 10 little parts again, and you continue that 12 times. That would be the size of a picometer. Okay, so I'm sure that still doesn't mean anything to you, so let me explain it like this. If atoms were the size of a golf ball, if an atom was the size of a golf ball, and we made a golf ball out of golf ball sized atoms, that golf ball would be the size of the Earth. Does that make sense? In other words, the relationship between an atom and a golf ball is the same. Let's put golf on there. Is the same as the relationship between a golf ball and the Earth. Or in another way, the number of atoms in a golf ball is roughly equivalent to the number of golf balls that can fit into the Earth. Okay, that is how small atoms are. Now, if we were to look and blow up an atom to a reasonable size so we can see what it looks like, okay, the one thing you will see is that an atom, okay, so I'm blowing it up, an atom looks something like this, okay, and right in the middle of the atom, let's choose a nice color, right in the middle of the atom there is a tiny little spot. Okay, now that spot is so small that if we made this atom, so this is now the atom, if the atom was the size of a house, this little center here, which we call the nucleus, okay, we call this the nucleus, wouldn't even be visible. Okay, that's how small the nucleus is. As a matter of fact, if I was able to make this atom, so if I made an atom as large as a soccer stadium, then the nucleus would be the size of a marble. Now, what's interesting about this whole process is even though this whole thing is an atom, the weight of this atom is measured by the weight of this little dot, the nucleus. That blows my mind. As a matter of fact, most of this soccer stadium sized atom compared to a marble sized nucleus is actually empty space. There's absolutely nothing in that empty space, okay, except for some electrons that appear in here, and because there's electrons in there, we call this the electron cloud. Okay, so for this video, let me basically remind you what is important. Important is that an atom is the smallest part of an element, and that still has the same property than that element. An element is a pure substance that consists of only one type of atom. There's no other types of atoms except for one. Okay? An atom is very, very small. As a matter of fact, an atom is to a golf ball as the golf ball is to the Earth. The atom consists of two parts, a nucleus and the electron cloud. Now in the next video, we'll look at the particles that exist inside of the atom. See you in that video.